100-year-old Christmas greeting from God. God originally sent this greeting to the Jewish people who were exiled in what was then Babylon, today, present day Iraq, in the 6th century BC. The message from God was a message not only to those who had been captured, but also to a handful ragtag group of people who'd been left behind in Jerusalem. It was a very difficult time for the once proud nation and capital that was destroyed. Can you imagine their mindset? Whether they'd been hauled off to Babylon or had been left behind, it seemed as though not so unlike today. The world was completely out of control. Their ancient homeland of Israel, the promised land that God had said that He was going to give to them and to their ancestors, was destroyed. Their worship life, it was in a shambles. The sacrifices that they offered, the temple that King Solomon had built, was destroyed. They could no longer offer their sacrifices. That temple had been trashed, burned. How they must have ached. They had nothing. Many of them must have been asking the question, is this how the world's going to end? Of course not. God is faithful. God is sending. I'm going to read it here in Isaiah 52. God is sending a greeting of hope to hopeless people. The message He sends 2,500 years ago is still applicable today. The prophet Isaiah said, "How beautiful on the mountains are the feet of those who bring good news, who proclaim peace, who bring good tidings, who proclaim salvation, who say to Zion, our God reigns." I love that verse. Our God reigns. He goes on to say, the God of the faithful, the God of love, the God of mercy, who came to these weary and lonely people, came with a message of good news, the message of hope. Our God reigns. They did not know. They did not understand how it was going to happen. They did not know how God was going to be able to do this. They thought that all hope was gone. They were full of discouragement, full of anxiety. They had lost their hope in God. They had lost their belief in the promise of God. They had forgotten, as so many of us have forgotten today. Our God reigns. Our God reigns. The Lord of the universe was going to grab the reins of the world government of that time. He was going to send the Persian Empire. They would topple the proud Babylon. I don't have time to get into the church history of that now. But wow, what a story of how the Persian Empire slipped in and captured Babylon. They captured and destroyed Babylon. The captives of Israel were allowed to return home. God is making this promise to them. The hope is secure in me. I reign. I will establish. My kingdom will establish peace. He will establish peace in the world. He will establish peace in your life. Let us remember, during this Christmas season, we're experiencing nothing quite like what we've experienced in over 102 years in America. The good news, there's so much good news. Whatever blessing we have is good news. We're blessed, many of us, we're blessed with life, blessed with a home, blessed with food, a job. There are many who are wounded, there are many who are hurting. Many who have lost jobs, many who are struggling with their health, different issues, different circumstances. But always remember this: God's a God of blessing. He's a God of favor. He's a God who never abandons. He's a God who never gives up on us. He said, I have great plans for you. And here's my promise for you. I reign. Our God reigns. Our God reigns. Our God reigns. Father, may we say that over and over. May we bind and defeat Satan in our lives with your